It's in the game! It's in the game! Go you! You! Go you! NCAA March Madness 2005.
NCAA March Madness 2005 is a very underrated game. While 2K's College Hoops series is still talked about to this day, specifically the legendary final title in that series, College Hoops 2K8, EA's series was also really solid, and March Madness 2005 is a classic basketball game I rarely see mentioned anymore. Shout out to Kofi for writing a modern review on the game for Secret Base. Take NBA Live's gameplay in its prime, add college teams and rules, add epic presentation and music, and you have a recipe for a fantastic sports game. I called College Hoops 2K5 a masterpiece, and while I wouldn't go that far with this title, I still think it's a classic worth picking up today. It's definitely underrated, hence this video's title. EA's final college basketball game, NCAA Basketball 10, was actually the last college basketball game ever made. And that's a shame, because March Madness is one of the most exciting events in sports, and video games are a fantastic medium to further explore the culture and history of the event. Let's take a deeper look into NCAA March Madness 2005 and see what made it such a classic, iconic title. If you've ever played NBA Live 2005, which if you haven't, you really should, you'll find the gameplay of March Madness 05 to be familiar. The first difference you'll notice, however, is that instead of getting crossed over by Allen Iverson, you'll get crossed over by PG number 5. Those were the days. Gameplay is pretty traditional, and while it's not as sim-focused as 2K's College Hoops 2K5, it has an easier-to-play, arcade-leaning style similar to NBA Live 2005, which is awesome. There's a place for both games, and if you're looking for something more casual or looking to start playing a college basketball game for the first time, it's a great option. The headlining gameplay feature was a new play calling system, and I'm going to let an actual college head coach explain it to you better than I ever could.
Hi, I'm Bill Self, head basketball coach of the University of Kansas Jayhawks, and I'm here to tell you about something that will revolutionize basketball video games. It's called the Floor General Play Calling System, and you can only find it in NCAA March Madness 2005. Take it from me, every great team has a great point guard. You can be your team's great point guard with the Floor General Play Calling System. NCAA March Madness 2005 will revolutionize the way basketball games are played with a new Floor General Play Calling System for offensive and defensive sets. Here's how it works. You've got 3 plays to choose from. All of these plays are fully customizable in the front end. Choose one play. My Jayhawks will be running a 1-4 high. Bring up your pass and dribble options and wait for everyone to get into position. There are a number of options for each play. First option that we're going to show you out of a 1-4 high set is a pass to the wing. After the point guard passes the ball to the wing, the big guy in the high post will set a back screen for him as he looks to come off it to the strong side corner. In this situation, the point guard is open in the corner for a good 3-point shot. The second option is a dribble entry, where the point guard takes the dribble to the wing and in turn pushes the wing player to come off a staggered screen on the weak side. This is especially effective when the player coming off the staggered screen is a good 3-point shooter. Here's a coach's tip. To increase the likelihood of your pass getting to the open man, bring your ball handler back towards the middle of the floor before you make the pass. Each school has a different playbook with a number of plays to choose from. Get familiar with your playbook, and you can dominate your opponent when you run your best stuff against them. Floor General Play Calling works the same way on defense. Here, my Jayhawks are playing good, solid half-court man-to-man defense. Using Floor General Play Calling, we're able to quickly change our defense and switch to a 2-3 zone to confuse the offense and get the stop. When things aren't going your way, be sure to put your coaching hat on and call a timeout. In the new timeout menu, you've got the option to make a substitution or call a play, and you've only got 30 seconds to do so. Don't forget to check out the 25 toughest places to play. These venues have the biggest home court advantages in America, as the fans are the craziest and most loyal you'll ever come across. Feel that home court advantage as the away team when the camera shakes at tip-off and during free throws. Every successful college basketball team has a great point guard who takes command of the offense and is an extension of the coach on the floor and leads his team to victory. This player is known as the floor general, and I can tell you firsthand that this player is invaluable to the team's success. And your ability to master floor general play calling will be crucial while playing NCAA March Madness 2005. Go KU!
Home court advantage was crazy in this game. There's a crowd meter called pulse control, and the camera would shake wildly, and you'll barely be able to hear the announcers over the noise as the team builds momentum. It's incredible, and makes big games feel that much more important. I swear the crowd noise in this game is better than in modern NBA 2K games. How this was possible from EA Sports on the PS2, but not on any EA Sports games on the PS5, who knows? Before diving into the numerous game modes that made this game, and most of EA's PS2 era titles, so deep, we have to talk about the College Classics mode, my absolute favorite. You get to replay iconic moments from the history of the sport, and that's one of the best uses of a sports video game in my opinion. Modern games on modern hardware should be allowing us to replay Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game in black and white, or recreate The Drive with John Elway. And yet, the best we've seen recently is 2K adding back Jordan moments and then Mamba moments. Video games are fantastical, meaning they allow you to do the impossible, such as go back in time. Sports video games should be a time machine that celebrate the history of a sport and its most memorable moments, but instead, they've become watered-down cash grabs. If anyone insanely rich is watching this and agrees with me, let's team up and make something special, because 2K and EA sure aren't anymore. The College Classics mode in this game really drives home that sports video games used to be a lot better and more fun before microtransactions and virtual trading cards became a thing. Back when 2K and EA were both fighting for not only the NBA video game market, but also the college hoops market, that competition led to more innovation. Selecting a game has epic music playing and Brad Nessler narrating the story behind the challenge. David vs. Goliath is an example of how fun this mode could be. Take over the terrible Chaminade team and upset the super talented 83 Virginia squad. That's one of the most challenging examples, but there were some quick and easy ones too, such as a smart shot, where you take over Indiana's 1987 team and try to score the game-winning basket before time expires. As a kid, playing through game modes like these taught me so much about the history of sports, and if not for them, I probably never would have heard about some of these iconic moments. One of the best parts of being a sports fan is diving into the rich history and lore of different leagues, and it blows my mind that we don't get modes like this anymore. I'll move on now. Dynasty mode was incredible in this game. You create a coach, pick a school, and basically get to manage everything, from creating your schedule to redshirting players to how much you want to recruit versus discipline them, set training time by assigning points to different categories, and much more. Recruiting was pretty easy, but it was fun. You had numerous options to play with for recruits, and if they chose not to join your school, you'd actually get a message from that specific player saying he can't wait to play against you, setting up an awesome revenge game narrative. You can also get messages from the NCAA warning you about violations and potential punishments towards your organization in the next year. Players can make poor decisions off the court, and you can even choose to punish them by suspending them. It's a lot of fun and very in-depth, making it easy to sink a lot of time into. Remember, this was when EA Sports was actually good, and put most of their effort into modes like these instead of virtual card packs or whatever. And unlike modern 2K games, there's obviously no VC. This game only existed to give you a good time. The mascot game was awesome. I miss it because it's so stupid, yeah, but it's so fun. Just look at this. Everything is better with mascots. My NCAA was basically EA's version of the crib from 2K. You could enter the bookstore to buy historic teams to play with, all-time teams, equipment, and more. And unlike in modern games, there were obviously no microtransactions. Earning points to spend in-game was easy. Just play some games and you'll be able to consistently and constantly unlock new things, which helped add replayability and progression. The lounge had an option for entering cheat codes, something I loved doing in the PS2 era. You could play songs from the game's soundtrack and see jerseys on the wall from specific challenges you've completed. The Hall of Fame shows off every trophy you've ever earned while playing. It was a fun way to relive your favorite moments over the years. As I mentioned earlier, the crowd noise is top notch, and the commentary from Brad Nessler and Dick Vitale is really solid. Although at times they don't get as hyped as they should, but again, this game's from 2004. They have excellent voices, as we all know, and it does feel truly authentic. Compared to 2K's college hoop games, EA may not have had as good gameplay, but they always nailed the presentation. Graphically, the game looks very similar to NBA Live 2005. You're currently seeing footage from an original Xbox emulator called Zemu, so it looks a little extra crisp, but even in its original 480p resolution, this game doesn't look bad at all. And unlike a lot of older basketball games, the default camera angle is baseline low, which is very similar to the 2K camera angle. Most people don't play basketball games from a broadcast angle. The soundtrack for this game actually surprised me. On the surface, these just seem like your average early 2000s EA playlist type songs, which isn't a bad thing at all, as those soundtracks had much more variation than the ones we hear in modern day sports games. There were actually songs with guitars back then, for example, and I'm someone who loves rap. But I was surprised to hear that the songs in this game's soundtrack were performed by a college band. Hearing familiar tunes played by a marching band really sets the tone when you start the game or go through menus in Dynasty mode. It's awesome, and honestly worth checking out on your own even if you don't want to play the game or don't have access to the game. I put a link in the description to the soundtrack if you want to hear it. For die-hard Hoops fans, this game was a must-buy back in the day, just like College Hoops 2K5. What an awesome era. And while I personally prefer 2K5, I had a blast playing through this game, specifically the College Classics mode. If you're itching to play something different than the small selection of modern sports games we get today, why not either pick up an old copy of NCAA March Madness 05 or emulate the game on your PC or even a Steam Deck? The gameplay is easy to pick up and play, it's a lot of fun, the Dynasty mode is as deep as you'd expect from an EA Sports game from this era, and the overall atmosphere is unrivaled. College Hoops games don't exist anymore, but they should. And with EA bringing back college football games this year, hopefully they or 2K creates a new March Madness game. Until then, you can play this timeless classic, a game that I find underrated today, as it's not brought up often enough. Thanks for watching.